ahead and call this meeting to order. It's 5:32. And welcome everybody here tonight. Thank you for attending our DSS meeting for June the 2nd. County Manager Cook, would you care to lead us in our invocation tonight?
Glad to, Ms. Masters. Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you so much for your very many blessings and for all you've done for us, Lord, for just helping us thus far as we've been through budget season and through a storm. And Lord, I pray you continue just to help our citizens, Lord. I just pray that you would just bring your guidance and your help to our folks. Lord, I pray you give this board wisdom as, Lord, they make these decisions that are often difficult ones. Lord, I pray that you would give them guidance, and Lord, they may do things pleasing in your sight. Lord, I thank you so much for your very many blessings. Be with each person's personal requests, Lord. And Lord, I pray that you would just, Lord, just bring your mercy and grace to this county, Lord. These things I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Sean, would you care to lead us in our pledge tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Interest reminder. Does any of the board members have any conflict of interest that they would like to notate at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 6. That's going to be additions or changes to the agenda. Are there any of those this afternoon? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 7. That's going to be the adoption agenda. And do we have a motion to adopt it?
So moved.
Thank you, Jerry.
Second.
Thank you, Lee. All in favor of our usual sign? All right, the motion carries. Next item up is item 8. That's the approval of the minutes. And those are going to be from May the 5th, and those are our regular session minutes. After everybody has had enough time to review those, we will need a motion to approve them.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Dale. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lee. All in favor, vote by usual sign. Okay, and the motion carries. All right, Miss Wendy, we're up to item 9, the director's update.
Good evening. Okay, so once again, I'll kind of go over our updates and what's happening up on the hill, as we say. We do have our June meeting for our MDT. We have kind of pushed that back until July, and the reason being is on June the 6th, we are having an elder abuse awareness event at the Senior Citizen Center. I know we did this last year. And it's like a resource fair and a walk, and there'll be some statistics and that sort of thing shared that day. We had a really good participation rate last year as far as vendors, and we're hoping that it will continue to grow. But that will be on the 10th of June at 10 o'clock. So if you'd like to join us, you're welcome to join us. And at 12, we plan on doing a little walk around the Senior Citizen Center. So our next MDT meeting will be July 8th at 11. Our next law enforcement meeting is the 12th at 3 o'clock. This Saturday, we are having our Foster Parent Appreciation Day. That's where we kind of do the inflatables, and there's a meal, and we just kind of thank them for what they're doing for us, and the kids can play together. It's a nice event up at the DSS office. Last month I shared that we were doing some training on a new statewide system, and the rollout was June 1st. Well, it has happened. We went live today at 9 o'clock. A few hiccups, of course, on getting into the system, but I know Sean and I attended the training last week. It was 4 days at Caldwell County DSS, and playing around the system. It really makes me appreciate my social workers even more on what they have to enter daily on those. And but at least, you know, if I have to go in and screen those reports or work on an assessment, I know how to do that in the system at least. It was nice to see. It's interesting to hear the feedback from the social workers because you know the struggles that they all deal with each day, but it was also interesting to hear the input from the instructors and just the system. I think it's gonna be a great system once we begin to use it more. So that is live. So you have to bear with us if we're making reports and it might be a little bit slower because it's a new system that we're entering. So, but it is less, Donald, just so you know, it is less information, yeah. So yes, so that is live. We also just finished up a FNS, our food and nutrition audit, which once again, we did really well. There are no paybacks, anything like that going on. We had a few errors, just some simple things. One of them was during the hurricane when we had another county helping us out. They made the error, but yet we take the brunt of that. As well as the state was supposed to send out a prior notice and they didn't do that. So we also took the hit of that. But other than that, that was pretty much it. So I think we did a great job on that audit. So I'm very proud of my staff. And we also finished up a foster care audit in 4E. I know we talked about that first year I came on board. We had a major audit and I'm pleased to announce that there were no findings and no paybacks situations this year. So we wanted to make sure that we shared that. We had a few little minor corrections, but there were no paybacks, just some simple things that we need to correct and we were good. So that's huge for us compared to the one that occurred before when I first came on board. And I think a lot of that is to contribute to the cases that are being pulled now are more current. And I think we're doing a great job. So I want to make sure I shared that tonight. And we are still waiting on our final Medicaid audit results. I know I shared that with you maybe 2 months ago that we were right there. It was like a 97.8 and we were like a 97.6 or something like that. It's very close, but we still haven't got the final result on that, but we've been told that we've passed. And so we're just kind of waiting on those results. So, I feel very pleased on the results of that as well. But once we get the final outcome on that, I'll be happy to share those results. So on August the 12th, we do have the training planned with the schools. I know that we had talked about that before and I went and presented to several of the school board members and the staff. And there were discussions about scheduling the training and I had reached out a few times and hadn't heard back. Well, I finally got an email this week to where we've scheduled a date. So I just wanted to let you know that that has been scheduled and it's in August when the school returns. So I just want to keep you in the loop of that. I think that's all the announcements I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Wendy?
Randy, my question is, I mean, it's nothing with this, but now the school is out and, sometimes some of the kids are lacking, like 3 meals a day. I mean, it's just a fact. It's there since they don't get their breakfast and lunch anymore. And sometimes parents will even, send back on our messaging system from the previous year, like, I need help. Is there any resources that we can go to help us get some food for our children or whatever? So they can always reach out to you guys. I'm just wanting to know they can always reach out for y'all to send them to different avenues or different agencies.
Different resources, yeah. If they were to call they'd probably put them through to like the FNS program. They are doing the Sunbucks. I know I shared that last month.
Yes.
So if were enrolled in school, they should, and if they're getting free and reduced lunches, they should be eligible for Sunbucks.
Okay.
Which is like a EBT card. And that should have been mailed out, I want to say the end of May. So hopefully some of those families maybe are getting those.
All right.
But yeah, we would share those resources with them also above that.
Yeah.
And then Deanna Bradford with our Work First program, that might also be another resource that they can reach out to. Sean, can you think of anything else for that? But they do have a list of resources, like.
Well, you know, they worry when school's out that some of these kids will, go without.
I would really hope,
And I hope they don't either, but you know, sometimes the parents will come back on the previous teacher the year before and say, help, we need some resources. And so I just want to tell you, if somebody were to ask me on that, since they know we're part of the DSS board, that I can refer them to some things that you just told me.
yeah, and you're always welcome to reach out to me too. I'll be happy to funnel that wherever it needs to go.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
That's-
That's good news.
That's 3, possibly 4, amazing.
Yes.
Thank you, Andy. Sean, I guess you're up next.
High points, nothing really major going on, but we're at 26 kids currently in foster care. That's down from 30 from last month. We had 4 kids go home, which is just a tremendous thing to see. Hard work by the parents and hard work by our staff, getting those kids home. You look at down, it says trial home placement, it's indicating a 3, it's actually a 4. Those are another 4 kids that are gonna be most likely going home this month. All going back home to their parent. So that's again, parents working their case plan, staff supporting that. And that's a tremendous thing to see. We have a total of 7 kids cleared for adoption. We just had two additional kids that cleared last month. They're already in an adopted placement, and we're hoping that if everything falls in place, those children, actually, those 2 kids might be adopted by the end of this month as well. So we're excited to see that again. A lot of hard work, getting them to permanency along with all the work of the worker as well as the family members involved with that case as well. So we're excited to see that. We have 1 family currently in training for foster homes. We didn't lose a foster home. If you look there, it shows that we're down to 13. We actually have 14. It's just a technical that one of our foster homes is going through the relicensing. They have to relicense, and their paperwork is technically pending with the state. So while it's technically pending, we have to put them in kind of the inactive slot. So that's just a reflective of one of the homes being kind of inactive, not closed. On the second page, we had a lot of calls in May. We had 25 calls come in for May. 16 of those were screened in, and at the end of the month, our workers were carrying 23 cases in either under investigation or family assessment. So last month was very, very busy. This month is kind of starting off the same way. So we currently have 6 families in home services as well. We've been pretty consistent with that over the last 3 months of six families being in there. That allows us to work with families outside of having to take them into the court system and really work in more of a preventative manner with them. So there's a lot more work that kind of goes into that. The workers have to see them more frequently. A lot more hands-on work with those families, but we see a lot of success with that as well. Moving to APS, we had 7 calls come in for May and for APS, 5 of those were screened in. At the end of the month, we had 4 open assessment cases in APS and 1 in what we call case management, planning, mobilization. We still have 3 in special assistance in home and 13 as payee, 17 guardianship. And so we've seen an increase in there. We kind of bound, it kind of comes and goes. And so our staff was able to work with a couple of families as well and work it so that family could take over a couple of guardianships so that we didn't have to. So it's a lot of work goes into that as well. So sometimes that doesn't always get reflected how much work our folks are doing to help support families to prevent some of this stuff as well. It's hard to show on a kind of a spreadsheet, but our staff work really hard. in all categories, with, APS staff, they're just tremendous group of people along with our CPS staff. That's kind of the high points. Any questions?
You have one when child goes back into placement in the home. You know, with mom and dad. What follow-up does DSS do, does your office do? You go in once a week, bi-weekly, or?
Yeah, so it depends on the situation, but yes, they, when a kid goes into trial home, a lot of things have to take place up prior to the trial home. Obviously, that family, that parent is moves from supervised visits to unsupervised visits, to overnight visits, to weekend visits. And then they move into a trial home situation. After some specialized observations, the worker actually has to go into the home and watch the family interaction in the home on 2 different occasions, before the judge can then legally, when we recommend trial home, for the judge to even be able to do that. So once then they go into trial home, that case stays open, until the judge decides to close it. So it could be where that child's in trial home, for several months, during observation, making sure that transition, we don't want to see a kid obviously come back into custody. And we have done a tremendous job in that in other county. Our recidivism rate is 0. Since for the last at least 5 years that I've been here, going on 5.5, we've had no kids come back into custody.
Good.
And so one of the reasons I believe that we have that kind of ratio is the fact that, one, before we put a kid back, we make sure that parent's able to do that, and then we're supporting that parent during that time frame as well. So. And that also goes back to the parents that are working to make sure that they don't need to back up in the system. So not only is it, obviously our workers are doing their job, but the parents are also stamping up and doing what they need to be doing as a parent as well. So, but there is ongoing support. And then when that final hearing takes place, we present to the court what we're finding, the GAL presents, the parents and their attorneys present what they're finding, and then the court makes a decision whether or not to continue in trial home or close it, and then the case is closed and the child's formally reunified with the parent.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sean, is there anything specifically going on in the community right now that's contributing to the CPS increase? Like just or something? Is it just what's going on right now?
Yeah, it's kind of, things go in waves. And
Yeah.
one of those times where right now, we're feeling kind of some back-to-back high months. Basically the last 3 months have been, all in the 20s. March was 21, April was 23, and then 25 for May. And so it's kind of just, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just, think that maybe it could be just some of the rebound from post-storm. And things are kind of, and then of course, you have the schools which kind of wrapping up for the year, and sometimes, where sometimes we see where schools are able to kind of keep a pulse on a situation, but then when they realize that, we're gonna be out of this kid's life every single day for the next couple of months, then they kind of maybe call us, say, hey, you might want to just follow up on that. So sometimes we get things like that
Okay.
come in.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for Sean? All right, Miss Sandy, you're up.
Well, keep you on, winding up the year here. I did want to kind of speak to the question you have for Wendy Dale about the kiddos. So we do still have our child welfare essential fund that came down from the state for disaster. And if a family has incurred extra costs that they, because of the disaster and need groceries, that money is still available. It may roll over into the next fiscal year. So by all means do check with us if you have a family in need and even if they're not eligible for EBT benefit. So,
Thank you.
yeah, and that's probably just echoing what Wendy already said is just give us a call, make sure don't let anyone go without, right?
Well, that's the big thing on our minds in the summer. Being fed.
Absolutely, very important. Our kiddos, we're 11 months on the books, winding up the year, excited about that. We should be at 91% in our expenses and we are at 84. That leaves us at 6% under exactly where we were last month. So we are holding our own with cost and still watching those costs over the next few weeks. So we come in as under as we could possibly get. We can't foresee what the next few weeks hold, but we are definitely made some changes in-house to sort of freeze funds. We've stopped overtime unless it's an emergency, so we come in at a good place for this fiscal year. So excited about that. Our revenues, we're 9 months on the books. We've got 3 months left to post. 150,000 is sitting there that will be posted in June for April revenues. That leaves us at 75% for our revenue mark, and that's right where we should be for 9 months on the books. Again, we're watching our costs and hoping to end this year on point and start a new one. Do I have any questions on the finance?
I just have one question about, the computer equipment and software. What was the reason for that increase?
So after county conference or discussion, we have decided to upgrade our Wi-Fi, which is at this point in technology, it's like having indoor plumbing. So we have like hardly any up there. State personnel come up, they try to use it. And in an emergency basis, we found it was failed. It just failed. So that's what that extra cost is. That is put into our ADP plan, which is approved by the county manager, Wendy Mavis, and the state, and is eligible for up to 35–40% reimbursement. So, any other questions?
Mine was vehicle repairs.
Vehicle repairs, we had two things. We had unexpected costs with one of our 2022 cars with the transmission that was not covered under warranty. So we had a little bit of cost there. Also, we had tires put on those cars, on 2 or 3 cars. When I'm invoiced for that, it's all on one invoice, whereas the budget accounts are separate. So in my budget, I have a tire budget of $5,600. That's not being reflected here because all of those vehicle repairs were coded to this one account. So it's looking worse than it is the money we budgeted.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we did move money around, I think in last budget or last session, you guys did an amendment and I moved money around and we covered that overtime cost and then we just said, everybody stop, no overtime. And so staff are doing no good. They're flexing off what they can. And, you know, overtime will only occur the next few weeks if it absolutely has to, which sometimes it does. So
Sometimes you can't help it.
can't help it. We gotta do the work, right?
Any positions open, or all your positions full, or you still?
So we are still trying to recruit for a social worker foster care position. We've refreshed that job posting in the venues that we use to get that out. We also have a part-time visitation worker, so. We know there's social workers there's a shortage right now, statewide, maybe even nationwide, for social services, but we've got our hand up and our eyes open. So anybody know anybody, send them our way. Full training available if they got a 4-year degree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mel, do you have any more comments today?
No, I just say one thing, once again, we appreciate you guys and the work you do and how you're mindful of your budget. All the things you do for, thank you so much.
Jeff, you got any more comments?
Yeah, you know, here again, great report tonight. Your report, we get a lot of positive things going on. I'm glad you were able to hook up with the school system. I think that's gonna be highly important for our kids. So good job, guys. Keep up the good work.
Just thank y'all for what you do. Thank you for coming in under budget. And congratulations and hopeful for the Medicaid hour come out as well. Thank y'all.
I'm just very grateful that I'm not losing sleep like I was at the very beginning of my commissioner endeavor. When it comes to DSS, I think you guys do a phenomenal job, so. Thanks. If there's no more board comments, we will need a motion to do.
Motion.
Thank you, Lee. Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?